Promesa is a dreamlike visual narrative experience from developer Julian Palacios, and it was released in October of 2020. When you first start this game, it informs you that the entire thing is only going to last 45 minutes and that headphones and being in a dark room setting are recommended. As usual with some of these shorter games that are out there, that might be an instant turnoff for some that are looking for something, well, more time consuming at the very basic of it, but also perhaps for someone that won't think that anything less than an hour can be worthwhile for purchase. And for games, I do think that's pretty fair. The standard for games has always been, like even with indie games, that you'll usually get at least several hours out of them, but I think a much better way to go into this one is as if you're about to listen to a new album. In many ways, it actually felt exactly like listening to an album, but let's start out with what you actually do in this game first before going into that. I think an easy description or genre that you can throw this one into is the walking simulator genre, because there are a lot of aspects to this game that you'll get in those. There's nothing to interact with, there's nothing to do at all really. You simply move and navigate your way through this world that the game is guiding you through, and you take in those surroundings and the visuals around you. There is a piece of dialogue that starts out each new scene, and actually as I'm thinking back to it now, there isn't any actual narration in the game, but there is a quote from someone who you can imagine is telling this story to you, and it's through these scenes that you kind of live out that part of their life and get a glimpse of a memory from that story they're telling. Now, none of this is directly stated, and much of it can be left up to interpretation, and I think you can easily play this not thinking about anybody and simply enjoying it as just an art piece with pretty buildings to look at, and there would be nothing wrong with that. This does feel though like a very personal game, obviously for the person or persons behind this, but also it can be a very personal game for you while you're playing it, because it can mean whatever you want it to mean, as is the case with most art out there. But the reason I'm focusing on that here more than usual is because that is the sole focus of this game. You get to make your way through these places, through these towns, buildings, corridors, streets, all sorts of areas that don't have any like real meaning to them to you because you're just seeing them for the first time, but they're brought to life through the sound design in the game and also through the imagination that you might be bringing to them. My favorite thing about this entire game actually was that from afar, as you first start out in these scenes, like from a distance and you're moving closer to them, everything looks so realistic, so tangible. But as you get closer and closer, you start to see that fade away, and the obviousness of the surroundings being a part of a video game becomes much clearer. And in many ways, that's exactly how it is when you think back on a memory or are having a dream. That's what this game really was through and through. The big difference though, of course, being that you're stepping inside the dreams and memories of somebody else. You can't really know why they have meaning to them, but you know that they do to somebody, and it's still just as powerful because of that. There are no characters you see in this game, no people at all, nothing that's actually alive, but there didn't need to be. You bring those things to the game with you, and you don't really need the game to have to do that for you. There were moments here where you're walking down a hallway and you can hear the cars driving by and dogs barking in the headphones, and it took me right back to some of my own memories of walking home from school and remembering songs that I would be listening to on my iPod. And then in some of the more dreamlike moments when you would be flying through the clouds or over the city's skyline, looking down on the streets from above, that would take me back to dreams of my own that I've had, and also just fantasizing right then and there what might be going on in that city below me. Maybe I do this more often than I think I do, and it's not actually as rare as it seems when I was playing this, but the game really made me think about that while it was happening, and that was kind of a really special thing. It is what we bring with us on all of our experiences that shape the way we look at things and feel about things, and sometimes that is taken from us with a game or a movie or whatever it might be that tries to do a little too much. And what I really loved about Promesa is that it didn't try and ever do that. Less was so much more here. I mentioned earlier that it was like an album, and I say that because albums are not usually very long for the most part, but also because a great album can take you on a journey or an adventure that is powered through the music that they're giving to you, but is also only taking you to those places because of what you bring to it as well. Music is always so deeply personal because you have to create the images of what's going on yourself, and that will always be different for every single person. And as much as I love visual storytelling, sometimes that part of it can be taken away from you. This game found a way to do both of them, and I have to commend it so much for that. Like always though, I will say that this won't be for everybody. I did love this game, and if you can find a good price for it, I would say definitely think about giving this one a chance. And I know it's not going to affect everybody in the same way. It just really did for me, and I really wanted to talk about it, so I'm glad that I got to today. But yeah, that's all I got for this one. Thank you all so much for watching this, everybody. It really means the world to me. I hope you're all doing great out there wherever you are. I hope you're taking care of yourself in whatever way that you can. I hope to see you all in the next one, and until then, everybody, take care.